Welcome to another little tale, hopefully you may enjoy it, so let's get started. The wind rushed across the cliffside like a restless ocean in the sky. High above the forests and rivers, where the mountains clawed into the clouds, a cage hung from a crooked iron post. Inside it sat a young harpy girl. Her wings were folded tight around her thin frame, bronze feathers dulled by dust and rain. A rusted chain looped around her ankle. She had been captured weeks earlier by hunters who thought rare creatures should belong to them. She hated the cage. She hated the sky she could not reach. Most of all, she hated how quiet the world had become. Then, one afternoon, she heard footsteps. A boy climbed the narrow path toward the cliff. He couldn't have been older than 10. His boots were scuffed, his hair messy, and he carried a small satchel slung over one shoulder. When he reached the cage, he froze. The harpy girl froze too. They stared at each other. The boy had never seen a harpy before. He had heard stories, of course, wild-winged hunters who stole goats and swooped down from storms. But the creature before him looked nothing like the monsters from the stories. She looked scared. Her golden eyes flicked from the boy to the chain and back again. The boy stepped closer. "Did someone put you here?" She didn't answer, but her feathers puffed slightly, defensive. The boy studied the lock. It was large and iron, meant to hold something strong. But it was also old. He reached into his satchel and pulled out a small hammer and chisel. The harpy tilted her head. "What are you doing?" she asked cautiously. Her voice was soft but rough from disuse. The boy smiled nervously. "Helping." He tapped the lock carefully. Once. Twice. On the third strike, it cracked. The cage door creaked open. The harpy girl didn't move. "You can go," the boy said. She stepped out slowly, flexing her wings. Feathers spread wide like burnished copper in the sunlight. The chain still clinked against her ankle, but she could move. She looked at the boy for a long moment. "Why?" she asked. He shrugged. "Because it wasn't right." That seemed like the most confusing answer she had ever heard. Humans didn't do things like that. She crouched, wings tensing. "If the hunters come back, they'll be angry," she warned. The boy nodded. "I know." For a moment they stood there, the wind whipping between them. Then she leapt. Her wings snapped open with a powerful rush of air, lifting her high into the sky. She circled once over the cliff. The boy shielded his eyes to watch. The harpy hovered above him, feathers blazing in the sun. "My name is Aeryn," she called. The boy grinned. "I'm Rowen." She dipped her wings. "I will remember." Then she vanished into the endless blue. 20 years passed. The world changed. The forests grew deeper. Kingdoms rose and fell. Wars were fought and forgotten. Rowen grew up. He became a wanderer, then an explorer, and eventually something people called when they needed impossible things done. Now he stood in the ruins of a lost temple buried deep within the Stormspire Mountains. Rain poured through cracks in the ceiling. Lightning flashed outside. Rowen wiped blood from his brow. "This was a terrible idea," he muttered. He had come for the talisman of Varel, an ancient relic said to control the winds themselves. But the legends had forgotten to mention the guardians. Behind him, stone scraped against stone. The temple's statue, once silent and crumbling, was now moving. A towering creature of cracked marble and glowing runes stepped toward him. Rowen grabbed his sword. "You've got to be kidding me." The statue swung its massive arm. Rowen dove aside as stone shattered the floor where he had stood. He rolled, scrambling to his feet. The talisman glowed on a pedestal across the chamber. Just a few more steps. The statue roared, a grinding avalanche of rock, and charged. Rowen ran. Another swing. The blow clipped him, sending him crashing into a pillar. Pain exploded through his ribs. He slid to the floor, gasping. The statue advanced. Rowen tried to stand. His legs didn't cooperate. "So this is how it ends," he whispered. Lightning flashed through the temple's broken roof. And with it came a sound. A piercing cry. The wind surged violently through the chamber. The statue paused. Rowen blinked upward. A shadow swept across the ceiling. Then she descended like a storm. Aeryn landed between Rowen and the statue, wings spread wide, far larger now, bronze feathers tipped with silver. Her eyes burned with fierce gold. The statue roared again and charged. Aeryn launched forward. She moved like lightning. Her talons struck the statue's head, cracking stone. She twisted mid-air, wings hammering the creature with hurricane force. Chunks of marble shattered. The statue swung wildly, but she was faster, darting through the air, tearing away pieces of enchanted rock. Rowen stared in disbelief. Is that? With a final strike, Aeryn drove both talons into the statue's glowing core. The runes shattered. The statue collapsed in a thunder of falling stone. Silence returned to the temple. Aeryn landed beside Rowen. For a moment neither spoke. Then she tilted her head. You took a long time to get into trouble. Rowen laughed weakly. I was hoping you'd forgotten about that cliff. She snorted softly. A harpy does not forget a sky returned to her. She glanced at the pedestal. You came for the talisman. Rowen nodded. The winds have been turning strange across the kingdoms. Storms where there shouldn't be any. Aeryn stepped forward and lifted the glowing talisman. The wind inside the temple calmed instantly. She handed it to him. Our paths cross again, Rowen. He looked up at her towering wings. I suppose we're even now. She shook her head. No. She crouched, wings spreading wide as the storm outside roared. We are just beginning. She offered her hand. Your quest continues. Rowen smiled and grabbed his pack. Then I guess I could use someone who knows the sky. Aeryn grinned, fierce and wild. Hold tight. She lifted him easily, launching into the storm-filled sky. Below them, the mountains faded into darkness. Ahead lay new dangers. But this time, Rowen wasn't alone. And far above the world, the wind carried two old friends toward their next adventure. Thank you for listening to our little tale. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Until next time, as always, be well.